Hey everybody, this is Louie, and I'm back with more on the Order of Battle playthrough I've been doing. Now, Order of Battle World War II, not Order of Battle Pacific. They've opened it up, and the next extended campaign they're going to be doing is Winter War, which is an interesting choice. The makers of this apparently like to kind of investigate the more, the less popular, let's say, maybe even more obscure corners of World War II. Winter War is not really a big one that you see a lot of games cover, so good for them that they're doing this. We, of course, are doing Marines, and we are at Guadalcanal. Real quickly, I think I figured out the problem. I've said that before, but I actually think it's a hardware problem. So I'm going to have to actually record these things just recording the game sound. Then I will have to come back and do what I'm doing right now and put voice in. There's no game sound for this one because I actually didn't realize that, and there was commentary mixed in, but my computer doesn't seem to be able to do all that, and it records the commentary all garbled up. So it's going to double the amount of time I've got to do this, so it will affect how much of this I can do. Another thing that will affect this is the fact that I am now officially a beta tester for a new game. I'm really excited about this, and I won't tell you what game right now because I don't want to mess up any disclosure rules, but as I can, we'll be letting you know. And, of course, when the game is released, I'll definitely be playing some videos on it because I'm really excited. Now, we left off here last time with the Japanese coming in down here on Segi Point, and I've got my little Air Force, what there is of it, down there bombing the transports, trying to stop them. As you can see, we're coming in to sink this guy and take him out. And you notice there he goes. And one of the great things to me about what they do here, and maybe it's just my monitor, it's my laptop, but you'll notice that they leave a little image of the sunk ship there so you know where it is, and it's like pink, bright pink. So I don't know what that means. Probably doesn't mean anything. It's probably my monitor. I don't know. I just thought it was interesting because it sure gets your attention. So I know they're coming, so now I'm pulling my troops down. I've captured all the flags out here. I also left my perimeter naked. I really pulled most of my perimeter off to go down here and take care of Guadalcanal and take care of Segi Point. And, of course, I know that historically, of course, there's a lot more Japanese coming down here, so I want to get ready for that if I can. So I'm moving my artillery up here. And then you can see I'm coming back here because obviously I've got to do something with this perimeter because you've got Bloody Ridge there where the flag is, and then you've got that whole perimeter just unmanned. And that's obviously not a good situation at all. Kind of an open invitation. You'll notice how it bulges in there very near Henderson Field. That's bad because, of course, that is the main Japanese goal. They capture Henderson, and they shut down the whole perimeter, and they slow down our progress in World War II hugely. We wouldn't have quit, of course, if we had lost Guadalcanal, but what that would have done to the war effort and how fast and where we advanced and everything else, it would have been a whole different thing. So I've decided to use some of the money that or points, I call it money, whatever it is, that I have stored up here to buy some more units because I've really I was very frugal setting up how many units I picked because I always want to make sure I got enough reinforcements because there's nothing worse than having a bunch of units and then find out I can't reinforce them. So here you can see I'm looking around. Maybe I'll get some airplanes. Can I afford them? It turns out really can't. You'll notice the red there, so bummer. But I'll do what I can. Now, these are fighters. And now I'm looking at armor. Because, another tank unit would be awesome, but I can't do that either. So, but I can do some infantry, and that's fine, as long as I've got something on the ground to at least slow up, if not outright stop the Japanese. Now here they come. You notice they come in off the map edge on those entrance hexes there. And so they have pushed in at the same time that the Japanese troops are landing. They put someone down there on Segi Point, and the other one is there. So it says brace for impact. Yeah, thanks for telling me. Already knew that. So I decided to send one of my planes back because he's a little beat down, needs to get powered up, and the other one's going to come down here and take a whack at the transport. Always easier to kill them when they're on ships than it is when they hit the ground, right? So I want to maximize my ability to do that. And now let's get that artillery up there, because I want to make sure my arty's close enough so I can zoom in and pound on these guys. You'll notice that the AI has these troops working pretty closely together. They came in at the same time that the seaborne troops are landing, and they're obviously focused on the victory hexes. So that shows a pretty good ability to coordinate units on the part of the AI, which is good. You want that in a good AI. You'll also notice that I'm whittling down the strength of that armored unit pretty quick, which makes sense because Japanese armor was really poor. So looking around, where can I put this guy? He's got to both protect the Seabees over there that he just kind of walked away from a little bit, but he's got to cover that bridge because that leads straight to Henderson. And you would think that would be one major avenue of attack, as well as Bloody Ridge. Historically it was. And since there's a victory flag there, clearly the AI is going to be focused on that, you would think. And that's historical, so that's good. By the way, good news, if you're a Pacific a fan or love the history of the Pacific War, that the Solomon Islanders have now officially agreed to set up Bloody Ridge, or Edson's Ridge, whatever you want to call it, as a national park, a historic place. And here come the Japanese attacking Bloody Ridge. Now, here we go again with, well, let's just wait and see what happens. But anyway, I'm very excited about that because it's already, there's been some encroachment on it just in the last couple of years, and this should stop that, and hopefully they can go in, and there's a road that goes over the very tip of Bloody Ridge. They can take that out and restore that and keep that historical, because that is, if there's one site of the Pacific Wars that I think you need to say, that's it. Okay, here I am looking for reinforcements again. Because clearly I need them. We got the Japanese coming in, from two different directions at once. And who knows where else they're coming from, right? Not me, not at this point. So I'm looking around for whatever I can get. There we go. We're going to deploy once I figure out where I want him, and plop that guy down there. And then get my plane over here. So he's coming in. Got to get him refueled and reinforced. And meanwhile, back over here on the flank, we got to close in and deal with these guys. And I want to make sure I get the artillery first if I can. It's still limbered up, so it should be very vulnerable to attack, which is good. So back to Bloody Ridge for just a second. I'm sorry I'm rambling, I know. But I did get to go to Guadalcanal with a group from the U.S. Marine Raider Association that I'm a member of, because my father was a Raider, as most of you know. And a few years ago, 2011, I believe, and it was an amazing trip. If you ever get a chance to go. Not a lot of amenities down there. There's not a lot of tourists, unfortunately, but it's an amazing thing. But the monuments there, the Japanese were at that time were rebuilding their monuments. Our monuments are a disgrace. They're all broken down and busted up, and we tend to put cement monuments up with copper plates in, and the natives steal the copper and melt it down because they can make money from that. And the natives there are very poor, the native population, unfortunately. But it was an incredible experience to see this up close and personal, and it really drives home the importance of the perimeter here at Guadalcanal and how the whole rest of the Pacific War in many ways hinged on what happened here. The Japanese got more people coming up to hit the raiders that are on Bloody Ridge. Now, they don't appear to be dug in, and as you can see, counter to history, but consistent with how this game has treated raiders / special forces, they don't have much ability to stand up to anything. They were driven off the ridge and pushed back, almost wiped out, pushed back almost into the jungle there, which of course is completely ahistorical. And if you don't think that special forces can dig in, look at the 1st Raider Battalion on the Bloody Ridge. Look at the Ranger battalions at Anzio. just as another example of special forces in World War II. So, come on, guys. They really need to fix this. I know I gripe too much about it. Sorry. It's personal, okay? I'm sorry. It shouldn't be, but it is. Okay, so sue me. Anyway, so now they have captured Bloody Ridge, which they never did in real life. So this is a disaster. Not good. And I've got to stop them now from exploiting, because you go down that ridge a little ways, and Bloody Ridge is more like two hills with a low saddle between them than a ridge, but whatever. You go down that ridge, it takes you right to Henderson, or if you've got artillery, you could park it at the end of the ridge and dominate Henderson Field and keep any planes from coming in and out, and that's the game right there. I mean, you know, if they could have held that long enough, they could have shut down and destroyed that perimeter, which would have been a disaster for us. Meanwhile, back at the Mechanical Segi Point place there, you can see that I'm busy trying to deal with the units down there, killing the Japanese. Wiped out their artillery. Now I'm moving in on the rest of them and have wiped them out. And so now I got to retake that flag on Segi Point. And now, obviously, I have got to redeploy my units back to the main perimeter because the Japanese are pushing. And I got to get some artillery support back there. Artillery in this game, I think, is pretty well modeled. It's very powerful, and it should be, because it definitely was in real life. It's also vulnerable to assault, and if you move it too far, then you can't fire with it that turn, which is totally, perfectly fine. So I'm busy trying to do that, as well as trying to shoot down some Japanese planes, because you got to shoot 5 of them down. And look at that. Oh, here comes somebody pushing in. They've got an armored unit way out in the middle of the jungle. Okay, that's ridiculous. There's no way they could have gotten tanks out there by Bloody Ridge. No way. They barely got human beings out there. I mean, they came in down where the incursion is down there at Segi Point, and they marched through the jungle, the Japanese troops. It was unbelievable. And they arrived for their assault on Bloody Ridge, of course, totally exhausted. Guys sick, a lot of people had died, lost most of their, not all, but most of their heavy units. It was just an unbelievable situation. There's no way tanks could have got there, but it's a game, so okay, fine. You know, you can't have everything. And you notice that the dead artillery over there were pink too. So I guess in this game, when you die, you turn pink. All righty. Little strange. So now I'm focusing on the tanks down there by Bloody Ridge, right next to Henderson at this point. What a disaster. Historically, if they had gotten that far, they would have disrupted the headquarters for the 1st Marine Division as well, which would have been bad. But here we go. Kicking some butt, pushing them back, and dealing with them fairly easily. The Japanese in this game, I found, and I'm also sending the Raiders back to get reinforced. The Japanese units in this game don't tend to stand up well in combat, which is probably fairly historical. The Japanese units, when they were dug in real life, they were hard to deal with. And on the assault, of course, they were really vicious. But they tended to be, especially on Guadalcanal, because of their lack of supply, almost total lack of medical, and not much in the way of any kind of support. They tended to be a little brittle. So I think the game does a fairly good job of that. They're probably easier than they should be to totally destroy, but like I say, it's a game, so you know, we got to be honest about that. We call these simulations or games, and they're more game than simulation, and that's fine. But it feels pretty good. Although I will say, you can move around on this map a lot easier than you can move around on the real island. I was amazed when I was there at just how steep every single hill on that island is. And it's covered with, grass, and it's muddy because it rains a lot, of course, and there's trees and everything else all over the place. Probably was more of that in 41 42 than there is now, and so I do think that the ability of units to move across this terrain is a little optimistic, shall we say. Nevertheless, it seems to be working at this point. So you can see I got my guy dug in there at Henderson. I've got guys pushing back around Bloody Ridge, although the Japanese still hold it, and I'm trying to move guys back into the perimeter to give me the support I need. And look, here we go. So we got to hit these guys, take them out, and so we got to get that victory point back. That's vital. And then we're going to hit these guys. Boom! And beat them up, thin them down, wipe them out. Here we go. So I'm actually watching these replays. I use Corel Video Studio 8. I'm going to have to upgrade to 9 here, but the screen I'm watching is really little, so it's about the size of my cell phone. So it's a little hard to see details as I talk to you here. I'm going to use a different strategy from now on when I do this. But anyway, knocking them around. Should have Bloody Ridge back shortly. They still hold it for now. And things are moving forward rather nicely. So I'm recovering here from a major, well, let's just call it a defeat. They took Bloody Ridge. That's a defeat because it didn't happen in real life. They tried it twice, once with the Raiders, the first time with Edson's first Raiders, and then later Chesty Puller's first Marines were there, and they didn't get it either time. So there you go. But they came close, especially with Edson, because Edson's troops were the first Raiders and the remnants of the first Paramarine Battalion. They were pretty worn down by the time they stood up against the Japanese. And we got some more Japanese units coming in. So you can tell this is the big push that they're putting on here now to really, take their objectives. And if they take the airfield, it's over. So you've got to protect that. And I'm trying to figure out exactly where to move my units to take care of these dudes. One thing I do like, too, about this game is that little front line that you see there that delineates what territory you own and what territory you don't own. That's just really helpful to let you know at a glance, what's up and what's not up and what's going on. So I think it's a really helpful feature. I like it. Definitely like it. It's one of the things about this game I like a lot more than, say, in Panzer Corps, where you don't really have that and you just have units wandering around. But I think this is a larger scale than Panzer Corps. Although that's one of my frustrations is you just never quite know what these units are. There's the dead pink ship still out there. It's still haunting Iron Bottom Sound. I'm sorry. It just cracks me up. It's got to be my monitor. They could not have wanted it to be pink, could they? I just can't imagine that. Kind of an off-white or something, maybe, or silver, but come on. Pink? No way. Okay. So we're starting to pull guys back, of course, from out there. It's taken a while. Meanwhile, the reinforcements that we brought in here around the field are actually dealing with the situation pretty well. And the AI here, you'll notice that these turns are fairly short because the AI has either run out of units or run out of options or both. I don't know, of course, but they got kind of I don't know what the word to describe it is. Oh, air duel. Yeah, I'm going to shoot him down, or hopefully shoot him down. But the AI towards the end here got a little. Just kind of didn't really have much that it could do, I guess. So its turns didn't take too long. And so it's just me moving stuff around. It's really not a whole lot new to say here. As you can see, I've got to get Bloody Ridge back, which I just did. And so now I've decided, hey, I'm going to push forward and see what's out there. because I wasn't expecting as many units to be out there as it turned out there were. So I decided, in the time left, because it looks like we've defeated their big push, to be a little ahistorical myself and just really push out there and go for that flag. You can't see it right now on your screen, but there's a flag right at the edge of the map, and they bring troops. They can bring troops in there, and obviously that's what they did with these guys, because I'd flown planes out there before and there was nobody out there. So I'm assuming they came in at the same time the troops on the down by Segi Point came in. And so I thought, well, hey, let's go for it. And look at that. That guy snuck by me. A Japanese infantry unit, which I didn't see somehow, is right out there. He's basically on Henderson Field. Now, according to the map, he's not, but, he's just like right out there. So I was feeling pretty cocky there until that happened. Then it was like, oops, got a little problem here. And we got a guy there on the bridge as well, leading into the airfield. So, at this point, AI's not doing too bad, and it definitely caught me off guard and a little flat-footed, to tell you the truth. So I was a little surprised. So we got to get our guys up here and kick some butt fast, because we cannot let this happen. If you've watched my my series Commander, The Great War, where I was totally pulverized and humiliated by the AI, I'm not a very good player, and that I'm really sick and tired of losing on these videos I make. So, I was thinking about that. I was like, come on, man, you've already been humiliated once in front of the entire world on the internet with videos that will last forever. So let's not have that happen again. All right, so now you can see here we're pushing out into the hinterlands, into the jungle, because I want to see who's out here. And if there's anybody out there, I want to take them out before they can either be reinforced and come back or just come back. Either way. And look, there's an enemy plane coming in, which I need because I've got to shoot down 5, and I don't have 5 yet. So pardon me while I drink some sun tea. And that'll give me a chance to knock him down, because I definitely want to do that. I want to clean house here. I want to get, like all or almost all of the victory conditions fulfilled so that I can really win here. So my Marines here kind of got different segments. You've got the perimeter down along the river where it was active at first, but now there's really nothing going on. You got the Bloody Ridge section. You've got the bridge over the Matanikau River there by the airfield, and I think that's the Matanikau. It might be something else. I'd have to look. Could be the the Tenaru's over on the right side. So, I was there, and I still can't remember all this stuff, and I should be able to. Then you've got the rest of the perimeter there. So there's the flag. I decided, you know what? I got a few turns left. Let's go for it. Why not? So I'm charging out into the hinterlands with my tank. And again, I don't know that you would be taking tanks out there. It might be possible, but I don't know. I don't know how useful they'd be, frankly. It depends on the terrain out there. But, the terrain on Guadalcanal is pretty hilly and, like I said, very steep and just rough. I wouldn't want to try and drive a tank up a lot of the hills I saw. All right, so we still got to get that plane. And looking at the artillery now. There's some artillery. And what are we going to do here? We're going to fly him in. Oh, bring this artillery around, Sorry. And see what we can do. Let's move forward. Let's go, boys. And look what I found. That's right. Oh, there's another Japanese unit. See there? Just when you kind of think most of them are gone, but they're out there. I don't know if they can be resupplied or not, and I don't want to find out. So now here come the Raiders over there on the right side. And, of course, because of the rules, they are out of supply as soon as they step out past the perimeter. I've said enough about that. I'll just let it go. But even though I knew that, I still wanted to send them out, give them something to do, and have them, act as scouts sort of and scout out what's happening. So here we go with the air. Not much happening. We knocked out that infantry unit down by the airfield, so now we're just going to drive towards that flag and see if we can make it before time runs out, because we're almost out of time here. And there's the dug-in little, it's like a pillbox reinforced position there that they tend to have on all of these flags. And so I decided, you know what? Let's go for it. What the heck? In real life, you wouldn't do this, but this isn't real life. So why not? Why not take it? So I'm going to move in. Here come the Raiders sweeping in. And trying to figure out the best way to take this. Hit him with that. Hit him with that Marine unit there. And then going to send the tank unit back. So I got to thinking, there could be something going on. Just they might, I might think everything's fine and it's not. So I got to be careful. Meanwhile, I've got everything else in pretty good shape. See if the AI's got anything up its sleeve. Send in my other air unit. Victory! Victory is mine. All right, I've won. The next game in this is in New Georgia. Now, my father fought in New Georgia. I don't think they're going to cover that one, at least not in the next scenario, but we'll find out more next time. So this is Louis saying thanks for watching. Take care, everybody, and I'll see you later.